Are we on?
Oh, am I going?
No, I think I am.
Okay, okay.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of R&H Talk, where we are going to be discussing some major issues and others. Let's cue the intro. All right, everyone. As you've seen in the recent weeks and months and whatnot, people have become divided on many issues surrounding big things like the government and the upcoming election. And I'm not gonna talk about the substance of those issues that we're being divided on. Uh, that's talked a lot about in the news and whatnot. So I'm coming down with the basis of why we're so divided, and I've come to the conclusion that a big factor is the influence of social media in how we get our news feed. So, and the big takeaway out of all this is that when you go on Facebook or Twitter, you're not getting the news, you're getting your news. And let me just explain how this works. So, let's say you as a Facebook or Twitter user, you have, a search history. And the algorithm that makes Twitter run takes that data from your search history and uses that in an algorithm to predict what you might like and what you are more likely to click on. So let's just say, for example, you are a big conservationist, like a big conservationist. Like you're researching like solar, like how to install solar panels or how to conserve water and all those kinds of things. Uh, the Twitter or the Facebook algorithm might link you or send you um, feeds about uh, government spending in the EPA or things like that. It might send you more feeds on uh, conservationist podcasts and whatnot, and it will send you links to websites about conservationist news. Uh, that will slow, which will prompt you to keep going and staying on that site longer, which is what the algorithm wants you to do, because then you're more likely to stay on the site. Therefore, uh, you will be more subjected to ads, which then advertisers will make sure that you're seeing all their ads, which is going to be sold. And it's a more complicated process that I can give you right now. But bottom line is, the algorithm is meant to in, keep you on the site, as you can tell, and it'll keep you feeding deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, as you can see. And you might start simple, how to uh, conserve water or how to uh, lower gas emissions. Next, it'll start pointing you to, and further down the line, you might start seeing conspiracy theories on how the government is secretly plotting to increase climate change because they'll get more money out of it or something like that. Uh, which is not true because I just made that up. Uh, and soon enough, people will start to believe conspiracy theories like that. And since a lot of people who are conservationists and who do like preserving the environment and who might start continuing to search that might get sucked into that same rabbit hole because, again, they want to keep you on their site longer so that you're more exposed to ads. Um, in continuing on that, you'll start seeing small circles of people kind of um, surrounded by this streaming of their news, and that's what they will believe in. And that circle will get bigger as more people start to search it up, as the algorithm continues to stream that data, and it gets better and better at predicting it, which will stream more people into these funnels of conspiracy theories and un and unlegitimate news. It really doesn't center you more modern. It really pulls you to either side of the spectrum. So that's how people are getting more divided on these issues, because one, it's again, you have a choice to search what these things are, but then again, the technology is not humane enough to decide, oh, you just want this. It'll start sending you other things. So what is your take on the role of technologies catalyzing on this whole sense of polarization?
Yeah, it's definitely a new thing for this world because, I mean, we haven't. This is a new first. We haven't had this much technology in previous years. And by years, I mean like stretches of time. And so that leaves us with we're setting foot forward, right? We don't know exactly how this we haven't known how this would work, and now we're starting to get an idea of how it works, right? We're starting to see how people who want to get their news, and they get their news, right? There's nothing um, morally wrong with that, right? But it's the idea that once you get your news, you don't hear the news, right? Which often leads people to have skewed perspectives of other groups, right? You know, if say someone is getting a certain viewpoint of an event, right, and you're involved in that event, if they only get their part, right, it skews the what the event is and who's involved with it for the people that are actually involved, right? And so it's this conflict between do people get there's nothing wrong with people getting their news, but it is sort of not wrong, but not ideal for people to only get their news. And it's hard for businesses because that's what they want you to do. They want you to go with whatever you're most comfortable with. And so I don't know. It's it's an interesting one for sure.
And honestly, I feel that it's it's really gonna destroy society as a whole, because in terms of society, everyone knows that in order to build a society, you have to have a foundation of truth, right? But truth is this: we need to obey laws, we need to participate in our democracy, and we need to maintain our democracy. Those are the founding truths of how our government works: obey the law, participate in democracy, maintain the democracy, right? Those are some basic constructs of how our society works, right? And in order to participate in democracy, you and to maintain it, you need to know what things are threatening it, right? You need to know what the threats are to democracy in order to prevent them. To know those threats, you need information. But if everyone has different sets of information, no one can really abound by that little foundation of truth. If everyone has their own platforms of truth, we can't get level. We need to first get level and on that set of truth. And it's going to be hard for us to fix the big issues of our time, the racial tensions, our climate change, and uh, changing how we view our democracy and how it represents the people that are participating in it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, and when you have that the algorithm that pushes you towards your news, right? It it pushes you away from others' news, right? So, and if everyone's doing that, right, they're getting their news, and their news can group up with others, right? And you have like this sort of friction between the two, which is really bad because not only does it stop people, as you said, from being on that even level, right? For to be able to like see eye to eye on certain things. You don't have to agree. You could be able to like see certain things and agree on some points, right? But if you have that like polarization that's pushing you away, that affects not only the people, not even the communities, but also affects our government too, right? And as our government is meant to be, um, we are our politicians, our government, our policies reflect us, right? And so it's yeah, I don't know. definitely an interesting one. Now, I don't know how you would necessarily get to that even ground, but I'm sure there's ways you can take another step towards it.
These big tech companies, Facebook and Twitter and whatnot, they need to they need to re-innovate their technologies to be more humane instead of just constantly streaming that data so that you can constantly make people stay on your site for the maximum period of time. Humane, because let's face it, we're going to be more reliant on our technology, not less. So that is out of the picture when it comes to reforming this issue.
Mhm. Yeah, and as with every new medium of information, there will always be problems. Whether the problems differ or change, it's up to the medium and how people use it. From stuff like newspapers to stuff as simply as messengers, and to now the internet and social media. There are different problems and different conundrums within those problems, right? And maybe you need to take a step back, look at the previous examples that have been set in the world, right? And because people have fought for that freedom of press, right? Freedom of speech. And if you think about it, I don't think that the system that we currently live in, the algorithm, is necessarily what they would have wanted. The way I see it is, you know, if you, if an event is a person, if you read one news story, you're only getting a side of that person, and so that means you're left to assume what the other side could have been, what the other side could be. But if you read one article, you get a side. You read another one, you get a different angle, right? And you can slowly build this image, and then from that image, you can communicate better with others. You can understand their viewpoint. It's interesting times, that's for sure. But I do agree with the reinventing or re-innovating the medium, which is the algorithm.
Well, that's our thoughts on this issue. Comment down below if you have any um, if you have any solutions to this problem, and we'll see you guys next time.